Hello, Pisces. Welcome to Lotus Heart Tarot. I'm so happy to have you here. We are going to dive right on into reading today. See what messages we get. Spirit, please tell us what Pisces needs to hear. What Pisces needs to hear right now. What does Pisces need to know? For Pisces, please. Keep in mind, these are general readings, so take what resonates and leave the rest, guys. Listen to your own intuition. Whoa. Gratitude just flipped up and hit me in the eye. Wow, yes. Pisces. Oh my goodness. Remember yesterday we got a flash of a really abundant card? I can't remember what it was, but it just made me feel all this money coming in. And Pisces, wow. It feels to me here like the bliss. There are two angels here, but bliss is also kind of a balanced energy. It's when the masculine and feminine energies that are held at the base of our spine kind of travel up our spine into our crown chakra, right? Up through the chakra system, alighting everything. And then bing, our crown chakra gets lit up and we experience bliss. And so it is the balance of this masculine and feminine energy and it coming together in harmony and, elevating, right? And it's really giving me this sense of kind of like multiple facets of your life are coming in at the same time in a really positive way. So it could be that you're having like success at work and meeting someone special, or you have balanced out your living situation or something, and now you're finding a job that's going to make it even easier, or someone in your new neighborhood, or you know what I mean? It's like I feel that it's like multiple things coming together that are like rounding out or balancing out. I keep getting those two phrases. So, and it's just like, wow, man, things are really good. And the sense of gratitude, right, that comes with that, sometimes we forget to be grateful, I said this right before I got sick on here, but, remembering to be grateful for our health. Health is something that we really take for granted until we are sick. And we're like, oh man, I forgot how bad this sucks. Like I was just sick and I was like, man, it's been a long time since I've been, this kind of under the weather or feeling like this. And, life doesn't stop. Life doesn't wait. So there's just this energy of, remembering when times are really good to be grateful that they're really good, and to consciously keep our awareness on the beauty of it and the experience of it and being present in it and for it. Because it feels like, Pisces, some things are really coming together, and it really feels that way. I feel like it's, like I said, multiple aspects, multiple things kind of pulling together, coming together, and this real heightened energy. Let's see. Pisces, wow. So you have surprise. Romantic surprises are on the horizon. Be open to them. You have attraction. You are attracting the right person at the right time in your life. You have window. A new adventure in love is coming. Get ready. And together. Find joy in the simple pleasures of just being together. So, Pisces, I really truly do feel like you have done the work and you've become a magnet for, you know, what it is that you are hoping for. You know, we become the energy that, how do I, like, we align with what we want by becoming the energy of it, by becoming a frequential match for it. And I feel like, Pisces, you have spent the time and the energy and the effort and the true, it's like I'm getting like, you know, rolling your shirt sleeves up and getting to work. And it feels as though you've really done this with yourself, you with you, and you've, you know, really worked to, make sure your own energy is aligned with what you want. And that includes not dealing with the things, like not giving access to energies that don't deserve, that aren't a frequential match for you. It's like saying no when you want to say no, as much as it is saying yes to what you want to say yes to. And I feel like you have done this work, and it feels like you have gotten yourself there, and now it is time for a new adventure. You may be meeting someone, or you may be having someone from your past return that it's like very unexpected. You know, you're not, for some of you with both of these cards, I get like the energy of some kind of event, maybe meeting someone at an event, or for some of you, this can also be someone that you've been interested in, or like a situation that you have kind of given up on, that where someone is surprising you and saying, oh no, like, I'm finally ready, or I'm finally showing up for this, or I'm finally ready to admit this. You have this find joy and this gratitude energy, and it is really being highlighted to me, the importance of being present in the moment and being grateful for it, not spending the time worrying, stressing, fearing. No, this is like, it's here. Be present, enjoy it, soak it in, soak it up, remember it, hold on to it, be present, you know, for this moment in your life. Okay, let's see what is going on here. Okay. So you have this energy of expectations, and you know, I think sometimes when we meet someone that piques our interest, or that we find commonality with, attraction with, where we may have a soul deep bond with, and we kind of know it, our expectations can sort of start to go a little bit crazy. We can start to be like, well, this is a soulmate. Well, this is like, we're perfect for each other. Well, I can see how this works. But we need to always remember that not all of those situations are actually meant to work out that way. You know, a soulmate isn't just a lifetime partner. And so with this expectations card, it is sort of clarifying, or just off the bat, like, what are you looking for? You know, because, you know, it's like better to manage the expectation from the beginning, to kind of understand what you're dealing with and kind of not have an expectation, than it is to kind of let yourself have the expectation and then find out that even though this person is amazing, even though, you know, you get along incredibly, even though there's a lot of attraction and chemistry, and it seems like all cylinders are firing, you know, if someone's not ready for something deeper, or they don't want something deeper in their life, no amount of perfection in connection is going to overcome that, because that person still has their free will choice, right? And so it's giving me this energy of, you know, carefully managing expectation, or really just coming into it without any expectations, and then either clarifying like what that person is looking for or what they want. But it's not having someone say, I really don't want a relationship, and then thinking you're going to change their mind. It's really just like, okay, I'm just going to be present for the moment for what this has to offer me, or I can see this as dangerous territory, and I can see that I'm going to get too emotionally involved if I go down this path. And so maybe what I need to do here is just never let it go there, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's to, when you're skiing and you're standing at the top of the mountain, you know, especially if you've never skied this exact mountain before, you kind of assess it. You look at the trail map first, right? And then you assess it, and you're like, okay, this is going to be my strategy for getting down this mountain, you know, on skis or whatever. And it's kind of like that. And it's like knowing yourself, knowing your own capability. You know, I'm a decent skier, but like, you're not going to catch me out on a black diamond. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely not. I know my ability. You know, I wouldn't even enjoy it, is the thing. Like, there are people who do enjoy that, but it wouldn't be me. You know, you'll find me on the blues and the greens, fine, but like black diamond, no way. But like, so it's kind of like knowing who you are in a relationship, or knowing who you are just in general, and knowing what your life is like and what other things you have going on, and whether or not you want to be distracted by something or confused by something, or, you know, it's like taking it all into consideration and sort of saying, okay, you know, I can take a baby step in this direction, or I can spend time with this person and see if things change and see how it goes. But I'm not going to delude myself and just kind of tell myself, this is what they're saying, but surely they don't mean that. Or surely this connection is deep enough that it's going to change their mind. That just really doesn't typically happen. Okay? And so I feel like there is this decision about physical intimacy. You know, you can be friends with someone for a long time and be attracted to them, but the minute you cross that line with them and you're physically intimate with them, and you know what it is like to be physically intimate with them, especially if there's a lot of chemistry there, it's hard to put it's hard to put it back the way that it was. It's hard to be like, oh no, we shouldn't ever do that again. You know what I mean? Because it's like, there's always this knowledge lurking in the back of your mind of like, oh, that's what that was like. Oh, that could be a thing. You know what I mean? So I do feel like there's this energy of making a conscious decision around physical intimacy, because I do feel there's a really strong attraction here. There's a really strong chemistry here. Then you have this energy of invest. And I love this energy here, because it is saying to me that, like, how much is this person investing? And just sort of giving them free reign to invest as much or as little as they are comfortable with. Like, giving them the space without the expectation, without needing, without anything, but just saying, okay, and just reciprocating whatever it is they're giving you. If they text you once a week, then you can text them once a week. You know, or you can always respond. Or it's not fair to, I don't think it's fair personally, to always make someone else be the lead, right? But you know, it's this, if you reach out to them and they don't respond, then don't reach out again. You know, it's like that. But it's kind of like, if I give you the space to invest and you want more and more and more and more and more, and it's getting to like, we're seeing each other every day, we're calling each other all the time, we're texting all day, you know, those kinds of things where, you know, this person is investing. And not just that, but they're like, hey, this new restaurant opened, you know, you're the person I would like to go to that with. Oh, hey, you love amusement parks. You know what? I got tickets to Disney. Let's go. you know, I planned this day at Epcot, or I planned this, you know, walk around this botanical garden because I know you love plants. You know, if they're starting to invest, it's sort of just like just having no expectation and waiting to see if someone shows up, and if they do, how they show up and how much they show up. And it does feel like this is something that is going to grow, that is going to be like boom, 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 like every day, or like a rapid conversation, or like, you know, hearing from them all the time. But it also feels, and I don't know, like if it's, you know, it feels like this person, it's like they love that they are always texting you, not because they feel like they have to, or that it's like quote unquote the right thing to do, but because they want to. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, I don't, you know, you're not asking me for anything, you're not needing anything, you're certainly not giving me the impression that you have any expectation of anything. And so me showing up is like voluntarily, you know, I can just be who I want to be, and I don't have to worry about you getting too clingy. My grand dog, I love my grand dog to pieces. She's a black lab mix, and she's mostly black lab. And she is like a stage 4 clinger. I mean, she really likes love and attention. And if you give her love and attention, she wants more. And I love to give her love because she is adorable and I love her. But it's like, if I'm reading her something and I'm absentmindedly petting her head or something, then she'll start putting her head under my hand, and it's like I may need to turn the page or whatever. And then if that's not enough, then she'll start bucking my book away. And I'm like, hey girl, I'm reading, we're snuggling, we're chilling, we're hanging out. But she's like, no, I want more, I want more, I want more. And, you know, bless her heart, she is the sweetest thing. I swear she could be like an emotional support dog. Because she's just lovey, 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 friendly, friendly, friendly. But, you know, it's not, you just, sometimes you're like, and you, sometimes I will want to give her love, but I'll feel like I can't give her love, because if I do, I'm turning on the switch and I can't get it turned back off again, you know. And then I have to be like, hey, this is my boundary, kid. You stay over there and I'm going to stay over here. You know what I mean? So it's like giving me this vibe where my dog Bhakti is the opposite. He's a very independent dog. I have to beg him for snuggles. I mean, he snuggles with me about once a month, a really good snuggle fest. And I'm always chasing him around and trying to get him to let me love him. He's listening to me talk to you about him. But it's like, I can just love him with reckless abandon, because he just takes what I give him and doesn't ever ask for more or demand anything from me except treats and dinner. He's like so perfect. Anyway, what I'm just trying to tell you is that I'm sensing that kind of energy of just not imposing your will, or not putting an expectation, or not saying, hey, it's got to be like this or it's got to be like that. It's just sort of waiting and letting it see what happens here. Then you have rewrite your story here. Some of you, this is a past person who I feel like, you know, feels like for whatever reason something went wrong here, and I feel like they want to change that. They want to change something about what has happened or where something is at. And it almost feels to me like they may not have been ready the first iteration, and they kind of want to know what would have happened had they been ready, kind of. And it's like, I think that they have sort of gotten ready. So there's kind of this like, I want to know what could be if I actually showed up in the right energy vibe with this rewrite your story. All right, let's dive into the tarot. That's what I'm getting. Here we go. For Pisces, please, Spirit, for Pisces. What do you have for Pisces? Wow. Okay. I feel like there was, for some of you, there was this past connection that wasn't able to move forward. Like, this person wasn't ready to, like, I'm getting like pair off and procreate kind of energy here, or, you know, like they weren't ready to be in a committed relationship, or to, you know, to try to take something on long term, or to try to have success or victory. It feels like they were a little distracted, but it also feels to me that they had some growth to do, that they, instead of kind of choosing to grow in the past, they sort of put up defenses to just sort of get through things. Or to, it's like, what I'm getting is like, I'm fine, I'm all right, no worries, you know, but they're like not. And so there was some growth needed, because while that is a certain kind of strength, like I'm not caving into how emotionally hurt and upset and sad I am right now, it's not the same kind of strength as I can acknowledge and admit that I'm having these feelings, and that I'm sitting with this, and that I'm leaning into it, and that I am looking at the places where this is touching other wounding, so that I can heal, you know, and repair myself. It's kind of like I've just survived, and I've just survived, and I've just survived. And that kind of energy, it feels like, has made this person kind of a bit defensive or a bit emotionally cut off. So they couldn't be a true partner. They couldn't, you know, show up all in. And this person has gone through a major period of change. We have the Tower here. And you can see that in this Tower, the lightning is striking the person is cracking apart. And it feels like even the world underneath them is cracking apart. So it feels like, you know, when we suppress our emotions, then a lot of times they come up in weird ways. Could be dealing with a fire sign. Could also be dealing with a Cancer, Aries, or Aquarius. Or a Scorpio, obviously. There's just this energy of sometimes it all has to fall apart for us to kind of fix it, you know, put it together right. I do feel like this person needed this. There is this rope on this one wand right here, and I keep seeing it as a snake. Every time I look at it, I see a snake, but it's not. It's like a rope. And it's like giving me that, like, this person had outgrown this way of being, or this relationship was showing this person that that sometimes in order to really have what it is you want, you have to let go of a way of being. You have to be willing to get out of your comfort zone, to shed your skin. Hello, honey. Yes, I was talking about you and what a lover girl you are. You have to be willing to shed your skin and be uncomfortable, and be very sensitive, and be very vulnerable. And that's what it feels like. And it feels like, you know, sometimes when we're holding it all together like that, we hold together things that aren't meant to really stay together. You know, we maintain relationships that aren't really the best for us, or, you know, that are actually harming us, or keeping us small, or that are preventing us from having space or room to really embrace something new, even if it is something that we really, really want. I feel like this person is, after having a lot of things fall apart, this is the thing about grief, you know, if they were grieving a relationship, or they were grieving something, Grief, we don't just feel the grief for the thing that we're experiencing right now. We feel the grief of a lot, you know, of everything that all the grief that wants to come out has a tendency to come out. We don't have these little compartments within us that are like, wow, I'm just sad about this. Once you start crying for everything. You know, it's like a floodgate oftentimes, a lot of times. And then you'll say like, I don't even know why I'm crying. I don't even know why I'm like not even that sad about this, but I'm crying. It's because grief was touched. And once grief is touched, it's like an avalanche. And that's how this tower feels for this person. And they're finally starting to feel confident again. They're finally starting to feel like they've come out on top, that they've gone through some kind of emotional wrecking ball situation and they're coming out of it and they're starting to feel confident and they want to communicate. You have the Fool card on the bottom of the deck. They have freed themselves from some sort of past experience that was holding them back, that was preventing them from being able to kind of follow their instincts or their gut or take the chance that they really wanted to take, or, you know, be free to, you know, go on in this way. Let me bunch her. I literally was just telling them that you do this. See, I gave her a little attention and now she's over here under my arm. I love you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're Grand Dogma's girl. Hi, Bhakti. Yeah, the only time Bhakti wants love is when he's jealous. And he is jealous right now. Right, Bubba? Right? Is that how you are? Mm-hmm. See, this person wasn't free to make a decision. Wow, man, we have the Fool on the bottom of both of these decks. All right, we're not going to fight. We don't do that. No, no. I'm your mom. That's right. That's right, Bubba. But we're not going to fight. We're just going to lay down and relax. With the Nine of Wands in reverse and the Chariot in reverse, we have the Two of Swords. I mean, this is literally saying, I cannot go beyond this. I am in a self-imposed stagnancy here. I can't make a decision to free myself. Like, I'm not free to say that, yeah, I want to choose this relationship or I want to go down this path. I'm not in a place to be able to offer that to anyone right now, okay, is kind of the vibe. And it's, you know, I just can't open my heart. I can't open my eyes. I can't see what's in front of me. You know, you could stand there and prove your worth to a person like this forever. You could just be like, no, don't you see me? Don't you see how right this is? Don't you see how strong this connection is? Somebody in this kind of energy, they're stagnant. They're not moving. It's like shedding that skin, right? They have to be able to do that in order to be able to move beyond this. They have to uncross those swords and open themselves and embrace the opportunity in front of them. And if you have if you have repressed emotions that you haven't healed or that you haven't allowed yourself to process, and you've just been shoving them down and shoving them down and shoving them down, you can't open yourself up to the experience of love. Absolutely not. You open yourself up to the experience of love, and everything that you shove down is going to come out for you to deal with. And you got to deal with it first. It's a blockage until you deal with it. It's burdens from your past that don't allow you to embrace the full energy and take the leap of faith. You just can't do it. With the Tower, the Six of Wands and the Eight of Wands with the Three of Pentacles, this is someone who has let everything fall apart. They have, and they're starting to feel confident. They're feeling so confident that they want to come forward and communicate. What are they wanting to communicate about? They're wanting to talk about the possibility of sharing a vision, sharing a plan, and collaborating. This is like, I feel confident that I have more to offer. I feel confident that I can, offer something. I am vulnerable. I have been through a lot. I have gone through a major transformation here. I have, but all these things that were really holding me back or keeping me stagnant for so long have fallen apart. I had to let them all fall apart. And I shed that skin, and now I am I'm feeling much better, and I'm feeling much better about my ability to collaborate, to, you know, sometimes the Three of Pentacles can be a friendship. It's a solid friendship, and it's something that we're building, and it will be the foundation. It can be the foundation for more, right? But at least a friendship, if not, you know, a burgeoning relationship. But with the Fool card, this person has positioned themselves to be able to take a leap of faith, you know, where they just couldn't before. They weren't in that energy before. So we have the Six of Pentacles with the Hierophant and the Eight of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords. This person, you know, they have, man, the Eight of Swords and the Six of Pentacles is kind of like someone who feels like they don't have enough to give. They can't really reciprocate. Like, their narrative in their own head is that I can't give you what you want. I can't give you what you need. And you know, when they're in the energy of the Chariot in reverse and the Nine of Wands in reverse, they can't give you what you need. They don't have the energy to persevere. They can't join up with you and make that kind of promise or that kind of commitment, right? And so with the Six of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords, it's like I have convinced myself, I am telling myself, or I have told myself over and over again, or I have had experiences where I've been told that, or I believe that because of the way those experiences went. I may have put the burden solely on myself, on my own shoulders. With the Hierophant and the Eight of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords, this is like my limited mindset, the way that I was seeing myself, what I was telling myself was preventing me from being able to commit, was preventing me from being able to show up. And I had or have to work to master myself, you know, to master my limited beliefs, to let them go and to replace them with something else in order for me to be able to show up. Wow, with the Two of Cups underneath that Eight of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, this person is going through like a major cycle of growth, where I think before they prevented their own growth by sort of their own narrative and what they kind of told themselves and about every situation. They may have held themselves responsible for everything that happened, when in reality, nothing is ever solely our fault. Fault and blame have really no place in the world. They're nothing. Everything is our teacher. It's you know, even if we learn not to trust someone, or you know, that we're learning. We're learning, okay? All right, wow. Okay, so we go from 2 8s to 2 4s. Okay, amazing. So we have the Three of Wands on the bottom of the deck. And this is a very forward-facing energy. It's very much someone who is looking towards their future and really asking themselves, what do I want here? What do I need here? What energy do I become to align with this? And with the Six of Pentacles being clarified by the Four of Wands, you know, the Four of Wands is where we're calling something down from the ethers into reality. And it feels like, to me, this energy of someone like praying that they could be enough, or someone praying that, you know, they could get themselves to a place where they could reciprocate, where they could have a balanced reciprocal relationship that was mutually beneficial, where they didn't feel like the weakest link, or where they didn't feel like, you know, they didn't have anything to offer that they couldn't possibly match up. It's like, you know, I want the ability to be able to commit to something and to feel like I can balance it out. You know, the 6 and the 4 are two very, very balanced numbers. And especially the Six of Pentacles and the Four of Wands are very, the Four of Wands is a strong foundation, and the Six of Pentacles is a very balanced energy when it's right, you know? And so it's like, I want to be able to be the partner that this person deserves, or that this person needs, or that is even in this person's echelon, you know, or, you know, a frequential match. The Four of Wands always gives me a vibe of the pillar of consciousness, like we're vibrating at the same frequency, and so we can join together and we create harmony when we do that, right? And I'm really getting that from the Six of Pentacles and the Four of Wands. It's like someone that just wants to be free to be in that frequency. With the Four of Cups, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Hierophant, with the energy is like, I don't want to miss this opportunity. Like, I have the opportunity here. It's been exposed to me what I can do to kind of master myself here in order to be able to show up for a commitment. And I don't want to miss this chance. I don't want to miss having this opportunity to kind of clearly see how I can better myself, how I can, you know, be the person that this other person needs me to be or show up as, in order to have this commitment. And it is a spiritual awakening, and it is being willing to, you know, go through some discomfort in order to grow. But with the Three of Wands, it's like my whole future could change. You know, what I'm looking forward to, what I think is possible, how I navigate the space, what I plan for, what I strategize for, it will all be different because it will like include this now, you know? And it's not a burden, it's a blessing. Wow, we have the Page of Cups with the Nine of Cups with the Strength card with the Magician. This is someone who's doing a deep dive to really ask themselves, what is going to make me happy? And how do I overcome my own lower vibrational tendencies in order to sort of align with this, in order to become this. With the Magician, it is like kind of learning to use all the tools in my toolbox. So instead of suppressing my feelings, it is feeling them and learning from them and growing from them, rather than hiding from them and telling myself I'm not allowed to have them. You wouldn't have them if you weren't supposed to have them, right? Like, it, you know, there's even that whole school of thought that like, if you can dream it, it exists in an alternate reality. Like, you aren't dreaming something that you're not capable of. You're dreaming something that you are capable of. You just have to align with the energy. The dream is showing you what energy to align with or what is possible. But it's already happening. It's already available to you. It's already yours. You just have to claim it. And it's kind of the same thing here, because it's like, you know, but it's my own emotional contentment. You know, how to prioritize myself, to fortify myself, to make myself feel, you know, at peace and whole and content on my own. And with the Page of Cups, this requires us to strip ourselves down to the most authentic piece of ourselves. You know, when I ask you, what's going to make you happy? You know, probably 9 times out of 10, somebody's going to say winning the lottery, $1 million, you know, whatever. And it's like, I actually probably could tell you that may make you happy for a moment, but unless you figure out how to leverage that into something that aligns with your soul purpose, it's only going to last for a moment. You know, how many tragic lottery winner stories are out there, right? So you may think that that's what's going to make you happy, but thinking that and chasing that and pursuing that might not be the wisest thing. When we really say to ourselves, what is going to make me happy? It may be feeling like you're useful. feeling like you are of service to other people, feeling like you know, have the ability to make other people smile. Or it may be that you learn how to climb the Himalayan mountains, or that you travel across the entire world and, you know, give and do what you can as you go. You know, I don't know, you know, it's who are you? What makes you tick? What's important to you? And what do you feel called for? There's a Japanese, I don't know if it's a philosophy or an art or what, ikigaki or something like that, where you make these 3 circles, and I don't want to tell you how about it because I've done it, but I can't teach it, you know. But it's kind of giving me that vibe of like really sitting with myself and really asking myself these tough questions. You can Google like Japanese way of finding soul purpose, or, you know, whatever. And it's not even just that. Sometimes people go to their birth charts for information. I've done that. Sometimes people go to yoga or a religion or a spiritual class, or, you know, whatever. But with the Page of Cups here, it's like connecting with that most authentic piece of ourself within ourselves and asking ourselves, how do I fill my own cup? How do I, you know, what is it going to take, you know, and really touching into that very honest space, not stopping with $1 million or whatever. $1 million honestly isn't even that much money anymore. I mean, it's sad, but when groceries cost what they do, $1 million isn't going to get you very far. With the Strength card here, a huge part of our own emotional contentment is us with us, and it is us overcoming our own lower vibrational tendencies. The number one stumbling block and obstacle that we all have in our life is ourself. And with the Strength card here, this is, you know, learning that and learning how to navigate without being your own biggest blocker, you know? And so with the Magician here, this is the Alchemist. And this is, you know, okay, so everything in my life that is not aligned with my emotional contentment, do I cut it off? Do I get rid of it? Or can I transform something into something else? Can I transmute the energy? With the Strength card and the Magician, this is, okay, how do I empower other parts of myself to negate the lower vibrational tendencies that I have? What skills can I learn? What can I study? You know, I talk about this all the time on the channel, but like, you know, if your thoughts are, if you have a very active mind and you are overthinking all the time, and overthinking has a tendency to get in your way or self-sabotage you or lead you down bad paths, Michael Singer, I'm telling you, The Untethered Soul, the book, but also just Google him on YouTube, Michael Singer, spelled exactly like it sounds, and he will help you get distance between you and your thinking minds. Or Muji, who will make you the observer, you know, and you know that those thoughts, you're the thing observing the thought. You are not the thought itself. And so anyway, but with the Magician, this is about taking our power back. This is being empowered to be our best self. With the Six of Wands, clarifying that Tower, you know, this is someone who has let it all fall apart, has broken it down to the very nut of the nut of the nut of the seed of who they are, and are, you know, empowering themselves in this life. Wow. I mean, Jesus, you guys. We've got the Strength card being clarified by the Magician, the Page of Cups and the Nine of Cups being clarified by the Nine of Cups. And we have the Emperor on the bottom of the deck. You know, for some of you, this is the masculine energy. that doesn't have to necessarily respond gender appropriate or whatever. It's just the energy of the divine masculine, someone who can take action that is in complete alignment with the highest and best. And this is coming from a real place of empowerment. This is coming from a real place of, I let it all fall apart and I put it back together. And when I put it back together, I focused on my being everything that I need myself to be, being my best, with the Page of Cups and the Nine of Cups, and with the Strength card, overcoming anything within me that would seek to kind of tear me down or sabotage me, me with me. And that gets us here to our divinity. It's like what I was saying about, mastering these lower vibrational tendencies. When you are doing, when you are in the space of being the observer, right? Like with the Muji and the Michael Singer thing that I was talking to you about, you are connected to the divine. That's where you are, because the observer is our soul. It is our connection to divinity. It is the God particle within us, It's the thing that has no beginning and no end and goes on forever. It's not just about this body and this life and this experience. It's that divine self, and that is the divine masculine, It is someone who is so in touch with that energy that they're not succumbing to, thoughts that they aren't good enough, or thoughts that they're not capable of. That Eight of Swords energy that we saw in the beginning of this reading, basically. Girlfriend. I love that you guys love that I talk to my dogs. They are just babies. Interesting energy. So we have the Emperor and the Empress. We have divine masculine and divine feminine, which is pretty incredible. We also have this Judgment energy, which is like, you remember how I told you that like Ida and Pingali are the masculine and feminine energies that reside at the base of our spine and then crisscross and travel up into our crown chakra, ends us with bliss energy. Well, that's what this card is like definitely feeling like, It's like the masculine and feminine versions of the self, and they go apart and they come together like that. And this is like the third eye, and then that would be the crown chakra, and that's that bliss energy like raining down. And it is the sense of connectedness to all that is, and that is our divinity. I mean, I don't know, you guys, whatever. I've been like so deep lately. I don't know what is going on, but not that I'm not a deep person, but like so deep. Like I've just been really in this observer energy and really like, I don't know. Anyway, with the Three of Cups in reverse here, this is an interesting energy. The Three of Cups, right, it's an energy of celebration, but it's also an energy of, it can be like overindulgence, and like especially when it comes to like alcohol or drugs or something like that. But overindulgence, like, okay, it sometimes we do things like to artificially make ourselves feel better. Like maybe we tell ourselves something that isn't true, or maybe we have a drink or a smoke of something or whatever, no judgment here, but I'm just saying it's like an artificial means, like, like yogis will talk about this, right? Because there's all this talk about psychedelics or whatever, mushrooms and microdosing, and I'm not one to like have these kind of conversations, but yogis will say, none of that is ever really needed. You don't actually need any kind of high to get you into the highest spiritual realms. I think everything has its place and everything is on the planet for a purpose and a reason. I'm not going to say that. I don't encourage drug use because I had 2 cousins who died of overdoses, but but what I'm saying is it feels like there is no need here for some kind of overindulgence or for some kind of escape or to escape reality or to like have some kind of false path to anything when you are this aligned. When you are in touch with your divine masculine and divine feminine energy. I just cannot get over this. The judgment, the empress and the emperor. Like, I don't know. It's like, what is happening here? With these cards. But with the Three of Cups, it's saying you don't need anything to get you there. Like, it all exists within you. You don't need to look outside yourself. It's all within you. When you balance it, like, it's within your control, and it is accessible to everyone. Okay, I don't know, like, take it as it resonates. This is getting very awkward in my opinion. All right, let me just clarify this. Oh, you guys. Yeah, there's always going to be these things lurking underneath, right? We're always going to have this choice between love and fear. And it's a choice that we're going to be faced with multiple times a day, let alone in our life, how many countless times. And with the Five of Pentacles, this is just a reminder that we are human. The Five of Pentacles is a very human energy. It is very much those fears that are attached to, you know, our ego and our like egoic self that, you know, are we worthy? It's a fear of rejection, a fear of intimacy, a fear of abandonment, you know, just these things none of us really want. I will say that, like, I have faced quite a few of these fears, like, head on. I had to. I mean, when you literally excommunicate your entire family, you become an orphan in a sense. I mean, yes, I have a husband and I have kids, but I have no one else. You know what I mean? And well, I mean, I do. I have friends. I'm a very fortunate, very, very, very fortunate person. But like the fear of being abandoned by your family, or like in my case, I knew my family would never fight to keep me. They would never fight to get me back. Well, certain members of my family would, but that was out of their own insecurity, not because they loved me or something like that. And so, you know, I knew when I did that there was like there wasn't going to be any real opportunity to come back from it. You know what I mean? And so I really faced abandonment. I really faced being an orphan. I really faced, like, you know, and not just that, but when your family's still alive and you're not talking to them, the amount of judgment you receive is insane. Insane, okay? And when people know this about you, they can always say, oh yeah, but you know, it's her because, you know, she can't even get along with her entire family. You know what I mean? And like, I honestly, now, years later, I could give a shit less. You know what I mean? I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever. And like, I don't want to be around you if that is anything that would even cross your mind. And so, but when you face these kinds of fears, or when you are willing to look them in the eye and say, okay, you know, I admit and I acknowledge I'm scared. And I did. Oh, I knew how scared I was. I knew. But I also knew I really did not have a choice. I knew that it was either choose me and get out of it and go on and have the kind of life I deserve to have, or it was stay in it and suffer, you know, immeasurably suffer, and have my children and my husband also suffer. And so, you know, I faced that fear and I made my judgment, and it was a judgment. It was a once and for all judgment. And when you do, man, you know, you are stepping into the unknown, but the unknown is beautiful because the unknown contains every possibility. The unknown is this might be so good that it surprises you. You know, this might be so incredible that it blows your mind. And that is what has happened for me. You know, it has opened up a completely different universe. One where I'm like, oh wow, this is my family tree. And I am the roots and the branches, and I get to say, and I get to pick, you know, what is our, you know, we're not taking this wounding with us. We're not carrying on in this tradition of my family. We're not doing it. We are starting anew, and we are going in a different direction. And this family is going to be all about love and all about supporting each other and all about you can always come home and, you know, you are loved without question. And when you do that and you have what you always wish you would have had, but you created it yourself, you're stepping into a completely different universe. You're stepping into a completely different reality, and it is beautiful. It is less crowded. It is, you know, my phone definitely doesn't go off as much as it used to. And, you know, it is, I do look at my kids getting married and not having people there, you know, and that is kind of sad. But, you know, the people that are there are going to be the people who really matter and really support my kids and really, you know, wouldn't be anywhere else, you know, and are not judging anything, you know, and are not naysaying their marriage or whatever, sitting there. Like, that's how my family was. I mean, they did it to my face the night before I got married. But anyway, what I'm just trying to say is a lot of times we want to feel like we're going to cross some finish line where we're not going to be faced with these choices of love and fear, or where we're finally going to feel so much like we are worthy to the point that we never question it again. And, you know, that's really not practical, because this existence that we have as spiritual beings having a human experience really doesn't allow for it. You know, we're spiritual, so we're always going to be pushing ourselves, and we know things that we don't consciously know. I was watching this guy, he's called Echo of Existence. I really like him. He's kind of fabulous. And he was talking about how he's been thinking a lot about life and death, and how he was like, I think, you know, he goes, nobody remembers their birth. Nobody does. And nobody remembers sleeping. You know, we're not conscious when we're asleep. And he's like, if you meditate a lot, you might be aware of yourself falling asleep, but you're not aware of yourself sleeping. And then he was like, and he goes, so you know how people are afraid of death? I don't think it's afraid of death. It's like a resistance to the idea of death. Like there is the observer within us, right, knows that there is no birth and there is no death. And that's why we don't remember it, because it's not really real. We always existed. We always will exist. We all go on. Like, there isn't anything actually final. Like, there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to be afraid of. We just, in our human self, that pick up from this point of birth to this point of death, you know, are mortal, are vulnerable, you know. Anyway, I love him because he makes me think and makes me ask myself a lot of questions, and he gives me a lot of great things to meditate on. But anyway, you guys, I don't know. I'm getting way off topic, and that's for sure. I think I'm going to leave this here, but I think hopefully you know what's happening here. And I'm going to get you guys some message cards. I figure if you watch this channel, and a lot of you comment that you do like my stories, and I'm not like trying to tell all these stories. It's just that a lot of times the way messages come through, they come through our own experience, something that we're familiar with, you know, and I think especially when they're super complex, it's like this, you know. And so then I don't know what part of it it's talking about, so I just give you the whole thing. All right, water sign, old flames, I am making plans, I am choosing you, and guilt. Okay, if you're dealing with a fire sign, lots of cards came out. You are the only one who truly gets me. I don't want to let you down. Nostalgic. I am trying to figure things out. Wishy-washy and angry. Okay, if you're dealing with an earth sign, I can't walk away. Trust me. You hit me out of nowhere. I am overthinking everything. Wait for me. And if you're dealing with an air sign, I had no idea you would end up meaning so much to me. Repressing. My nerves get the best of me sometimes. No one else matters now. Fantasizing, daydreaming, and triggered. All right, guys. I definitely feel like somebody wants to come forward and communicate. You had the Eight of Wands, and some of these message piles were like really big. So I definitely think there are people who are thinking about it. I feel like a fire sign. It said wishy-washy. They go back and forth, and then it said angry, and it just gave me this vibe of someone who goes back and forth and gets really frustrated with themselves. So that is sort of the energy that builds up, right, to where it's like, okay, no, I'm ready. I have to just communicate this. I just have to say it and let the chips fall where they may, because I can't keep putting myself through this, right? Okay, guys, this is what I have for you. I really hope it helps. I hope it brings you some peace and clarity. If it does, let me know. Like, share, subscribe, comment. I love to hear from you guys. Until next time, I send you off with all my very best. It's about to get good, Pisces. It's about to get really good. I just, like, even as I unbury these initial cards, I'm like, man, this is, yeah. Like, I feel like even the tarot confirmed what the oracle said. Like, definitely you're going to have some moments of bliss coming up. And bliss is this about as high a feeling as we can possibly feel in this experience. All right, until next time, guys, all my best. Always, always, always. Bye-bye.